Hi there, thanks for joining me. I'm Kira Woods and this is your weekly intuitive forecast for the week of June 8th through 14. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to you very much for all my new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed and you feel inclined, please do so and send me any messages or thoughts. Okay, I'm giving the cards a quick shuffle. I'm going to draw 3 cards to have a look at what's coming up this week. Okay, and the first card I'm drawing is a Major Arcana and it is the Death card. Okay, and we're going to follow that by the 8 of Cups and the 6 of Swords. Okay, so let's have a bit of a look and see what we think about these cards this week. So basically the way I look at this, for those of you who are new to my channel, I kind of think each of these cards brings a certain amount of energy into the week, and they sort of, the early part of the week the Death card will be dominant, and then as the week moves on the influence of the 8 of Cups will come in around midweek, and then at the end of the week, over the weekend, you'll find the 6 of Swords sort of adds another layer, another element. It's really the 3 of them working together throughout the week that influences how we might react to situations, what sort of energy will be around us, what sort of opportunities might come our way. And with this knowledge, then you are a little bit forearmed. You can make the most, perhaps, of the situation. So it doesn't necessarily say what will happen. It's letting you know that the opportunities or situations are going to be around you, and you then have a choice and almost a sense of knowing as to how you might react to those situations, which then will have perhaps a slightly different outcome than if they just hit you, blindside you without any awareness. Okay, so let's have a look at the Death card. Okay, I love it when I get this card in a reading. Now, a lot of people get the Death card and think, yikes, because, there is that general fear of death, or what does death mean, or does it mean people often panic or worry? Does that mean that their death is coming, or somebody else's death? I mean, death is a very challenging time in our lives, and it's something we all have to experience, sadly, both for ourselves, but also in many ways for the others around us. And however, this card is really about transformation. It's about change, and it's about personal change, and I think that's why I love this card, because to me it's like if things aren't changing, then they're stagnant, and if they're stagnant, they're basically nothing is moving or growing or developing, and so it's like when I see the Death card, I think, okay, great, it really is saying, even though it may be painful, even though it may be difficult, it means that there is energy movement into something new, because as something dies, something then grows, or something emerges. And the challenge is to embrace that. And if you look at this card, instead of sort of saying, yikes, the word death, if we took the word death out, you'd see, okay, this beautiful white horse is a very dominant part of this card, and it is moving forward. And it is there are these 3 figures. There's a young child here who's thrilled to see this white horse cut. So they're open and embracing the change, which often children do. You've got some sort of figure that's sort of presenting perhaps a conventional spiritual type thing. I often think in the tarot this is the Hierophant, but they're very small to the horse, but they are, they're open to it. They're showing that sort of, they're in yellow, which is representing sort of spirit, or your connection to something greater than the material world. And you've got this figure here of a young maiden who's looking away. So this represents that for many, and throughout different times of our lives and different circumstances, we do shy away from death, or we do shy away from change, or we think, gosh, can we just leave everything the way it is? It's been a really rough time, I need time out. And that's what that is representing there. But the reality is the horse is going to keep on moving, whether she is greeting it or not, and that's the message here. You might also notice that this figure here, the skeleton bones represent that even though the flesh has died, down here we've got the emperor in the tarot has die away, you know, the body, the flesh, and the bones continue on. So there's always an element of something in change. So when we move forward, when there's a transition, there's always an element of our past that goes with us, and it's a matter of what is that we're taking with us. Are we taking our lessons? Are we taking our skills, our abilities, the things that if we've worked for us, our positivities, or are we just taking all our dreads and worries and fears and anxiety with us? Because if we do, which is our free choice, of course, then that's what will manifest. So when you see this death card, if you can look beyond your potentially immediate fear of what it means and look and say, okay, what else could this be saying to me? Is this sort of an ego? I always think of the death card as the ego death. So, what is about my personal change that's going on in my life? What is the new role that is opening up for me? What in my life is needing to end or exit? What do I feel has been taken away from me, and how am I reacting to that? Has my place in the world changed? So often this card will come up when someone's in a transition, retirement, marriage, having a child, all those things, because you think about it, when you have a child, you're no longer a single person, or you're no longer a couple, and because this new life is in your life. So the old has changed, something new's come in. So most people celebrate they've had a child. So think of death that way. How would you respond to a situation like that? So as you look throughout this week, particularly the early part of the week, the situations that come up, the challenges that may come your way, plant in the back of your mind, okay, is this an indication of some sort of transformation that needs to occur in my life, or something that is trying to move forward? Is there a sort of a depth of change that I'm being encouraged to embrace? Is there something new and fresh and pure that is trying to evolve in my life, because ultimately death is the ultimate purifier when you think about it. So that's sort of the message that is coming your way. So you might remind those of you who looked at my monthly reading that the World card is our overarching helper card this month, and that fits so perfectly, because that's all about change and transition and moving, taking our attainments and celebrating them. But to do that, we have to let go of the things that are done and dusted. Next card is also about change and transition, and as is the last card. So this whole week is about change and transition. So I hope, folks, can really get behind that one, because you're going to have lots of experiences about it. Okay, so the number 8 of cups. So here we're looking at our emotional well-being, or our emotional attachment to any particular situation. And we had this card last week in the same position. So if you find there's something you do on sort of the Wednesday, like sort of Tuesday afternoon, or Wednesday or early Thursday, sort of Wednesday, Thursday, a person you engage with, a situation you're involved in, anything that you do, just pay note. Is there something, because the position here is the same again. So that message wanting to come back, and it's very particular to the middle of the week. So here we're looking at the 8 of cups. So this person, this figure, is moving on from some sort of an emotional situation. And so it could be that you're really finding that you've realized that you've been feeling stagnant. That this card is reminding us that what happens if we don't embrace change. That feeling of being disenchanted and stagnant. And yet if we do embrace that it's time to move on, and things naturally come to an end, including jobs and relationships and homes and really all of life, then what we find is that we can be empowered around saying, okay, let's try something new. Let's emotionally move on to a new way of looking at the situation. Sort of what I think of as going with the flow emotionally around the emotional stream of life. That life, maybe you're feeling that life has more to offer, or that you haven't fully embraced life, or that you haven't really capitalized on all that you really wanted to do, and so that you feel that it is time to take that sort of emotional journey into looking at something deeper in your life, or something different, which might mean that you have to let go of people from the past, places from the past, situations from the past, or situations that are needing to come to an end. So particularly with this death card here, it's like you're not going to avoid things ending that need to end. And so it's a matter of taking that, yes, that hurt and that momentary, I put in parentheses, period of shock and horror, and realizing this is an opportunity to move into a new direction from that sort of change, transition, emotional standpoint. Where does your heart want to go? It could also be that you want to go on a bit of a quest or a walkabout or a pilgrimage, that you want to sort of maybe escape something of the rat race. So it could even be you just want to go out hiking and do a bit of meditating in the wilderness, or or it might be you want to go on a bit of a trip and just get away and do something. It could be you just want to sit down and read a really good book, or delve into a whole new philosophy or understanding, or something you've always been interested in and you haven't put the time into. It could be you just want to get together a whole bunch of new friends in your life or new people around you. But anything that's going to vitalize you and emotionally support you into realizing that it's time to change, and it's time to sort of make choices and walk away from that which is not working. Okay, the end of the week's coming up now. So we've got, as I said, the Six of Swords. Again, this is a card of transition. Remember, Swords is about our mind, though, and how we perceive things from an intellectual point of view. Our values, our beliefs, our logic, the way we communicate, all things that the mind are involved in. And so what this card is saying is that through moving forward, through that sort of rite of passage concept to something new, we will have a new sense of clarity in terms of how we perceive things and how our mind engages in them. So often when we have a difficult time, a transitional time, our heart gets broken or gets challenged or gets hurt. And what can happen is the mind can get quite stuck on that. And this is what's saying that the mind also needs to evolve and look at things differently, embrace this new that is coming. It might also be that you need to do that, to have this emotional transition. You need to let go of any old regrets. Yeah, we all make mistakes. We all do things that we wish we'd done differently. It doesn't do us any good, really, to sit back and ponder too much on that unless we're using that as a springboard to look to see how we could do things differently. But just simply mentally going over and over and over, I wished I'd done things differently, really doesn't change the way things have, the way we did it and how things came about. Also, you got to forgive yourself. This card is sort of saying, avoid that sort of feeling depressed or deeply saddened in a way that you just get stuck in mentally as well as emotionally. So as I look at these cards, it's a twofold. It's warning us of, if we don't embrace change and transition, that we may find ourselves quite stuck and stagnant. It's also embracing that if we do embrace transition and if we see the potential opportunity of something new on the horizon, then both our heart and our mind will be open to whole new possibilities, and we will have new sense of love and happiness and joy and mental stimulation and creativity and clarity of thought that will come. So I see all these three cards as tremendously positive, depending on how you embrace the original transition that is coming into your life. Personal transition. And you might be sitting back and saying, oh, nothing much is, changing or happening in my life. And I'm talking about, this could be something, just a deep seed inside yourself. It doesn't need to necessarily be a big event in the external world. This could be inside yourself, a change, a transition that is waiting and wanting to occur, and if we pay attention to that, then we can move forward. So I wish you an absolutely fabulous week. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. If you'd like to have a private reading with me, please check out my website at kirawoods.com. Please also like and share and subscribe to my channel, and also my business Facebook page. If you would, please go to it. It's Kira Woods Tarot. And please send me your notes and messages and thoughts and comments about this reading and about my channel. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you again, and I'm wishing you an absolutely fabulous week, and I look forward to catching up with you next week. All the best.